So I originally had a vlog recorded that was me taking some sort of a political alignment test, and I think that in hindsight it was a little pointless considering the fact that everyone knows I'm a conservative. So I thought to myself, what should I really discuss this week? And I saw a video from the Daily Wire from Michael Knowles that was a response to a question, that was a response to a discussion that Michael had with a cardinal or priest or what have you, filthy papists. But regardless, there was a discussion on marriage. And the person who wrote into Michael's show is a gay conservative. And is talking about, the gay marriage argument. And Michael has doesn't really address the concerns of the writer in regards to the person asking. Now you can watch the video yourself. Link is in the description. Here is something that I found as a problem. Is that Michael made the same mistake that the neoconservatives made in the prior generation and other people have made as well within the Christian community in regards to gay marriage. The important thing when it comes to conservatism and gay marriage is twofold. What is government's role in marriage? That's the first question that has to be asked. How much is this going to affect my religious life? That's the second. Those are the two questions that matter. All the discussion of definition and things along those lines are purely philosophical. And I can understand how they're interesting. But when it comes to the question of legal and illegal, that in and of itself has to be taken and moved to the side as a separate discussion. And here's why. What we should have always been worried about in regards to the culture and the way that government influences it is the chilling effect of what happens when we make something illegal. What was the chilling effect of prohibition? It's organized crime. We made crime a business as a nation. It's the government's fault. There's no other real way to look at it, from my opinion. With enshrining marriage via government, what we did, what the chilling effect was a major loss in regards to the culture war. I am of the opinion that we would not have seen an upsurge in atheism during Barack Obama's presidency. I don't think we would have seen a cultural backlash against Christianity or anything along those lines over the last 8 years before Trump was elected, had we been smarter about the gay marriage debate as conservatives. But we weren't. And Christians weren't smart about it either. Because Christians made the mistake of consistently wanting to enshrine religion into law, which is a problem. You have to make a secular argument in regards to the law. You cannot appeal to the Bible to someone who does not recognize the Bible's authority. I believe God is real. And I hope that Michael addresses this, because I would love to have a conversation with him about it, even though I'm a nobody. He and I acknowledge that the Bible is an absolute authority in the world. What about somebody who doesn't? then what's your argument? That is the question. Because theology means nothing to someone who does not place value in theology. So, that is where the problem lies. We allowed, or rather, the one thing I always say when it comes to cultural debates and things along those lines is that oftentimes, in regards to the right and the center in a lot of ways, against the radical left, is that they are holding a gun. They are willing to use that gun against you. You have a gun as well. Each gun takes different ammunition. And they have a clip for that handgun that is the one that is in your hand. And you have theirs. The goal should be not to slide the ammunition across the table to them. That's what we did. Because for some reason we thought that it would be a good idea to enshrine a biblical definition into a secular government. And I know that many people say that we live in a Christian nation. We don't. We live in a nation that is full of Christians. There is a difference. Do I want society to move away from Christianity? Of course not. But I am not of the opinion that Christianity has a weak argument in regards to its value. That is why I am confident enough to believe that there is no reason whatsoever that we should feel the need to enshrine dogma into law. But that's what laws banning gay marriage are. Every single argument I have seen against making gay marriage legal has been rooted in Scripture. And that is the problem. It should have never been there. Ever. What it should have been is the following. Purely from government. It should have been seen as just another contract. This is a contract about shared assets. That's it. And then on top of that contract, if you want to have a prenuptial agreement, so in the case of that contract breaking, or rather that would be worked in, but that's all it should have been, is a contract. Like any other contract between two parties. And it should not have mattered who was what. Because at the end of the day, if God is the supreme authority to government, government cannot change definition in a religious realm. They can't do it. They don't have enough power. They don't have any power in that realm in comparison to God. So I ask to someone like Michael Knowles, or anybody who would be willing to respond to this, as to why on earth we should ever think that the government should have that kind of power to make that sort of a restriction. I fear that attitudes like this will ultimately lose the culture. The argument for a more traditional morality cannot be made via government. We have to win hearts and minds. And you cannot do that via government fiat. It does not happen. The goal should always be to move government away from it and allow the individual to make his own decision. Legally speaking, it is absolutely suicide for conservatives to start banging on about gay marriage all over again. Because it should never have been illegal in the first place. It was absolutely ridiculous. Again, it is the Streisand effect. And we'll close on this. Streisand effect. Barbra Streisand wants to sue a photographer for taking a picture of her house. Suddenly, everybody wants a picture of the house. If you try to force something into being taboo, instead of just openly discussing it, this is what happens. You allow the other person to frame you as the bad guy. And that is political suicide. My name is Micah Curtis. I'll see you next time. Deus Vult.